Hello, and a very good morning from the London Underground. You join me today on a District Line train from Wimbledon to Edgware Road. Now, while I do certainly plan on covering the London Underground a bit in future videos, this is not the focus of today's instalment. Today, rather, we'll be aiming to have a look at one of Chiltern Railways' Class 168 Clubman sets that they use on their mainline services from London to Birmingham. But first, let's get to Edgware Road and make the short walk from there to Marylebone Station, which is Chiltern's London terminus.
The next station is Edgware Road, where this train terminates.
Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the cut and cover tube lines. I always think that they feel a bit pedestrian compared to their deep level counterparts. But I must say, if you're leaving the network and heading up to street level, then it's nice not having to negotiate a labyrinth of escalators. Anyway, the walk from Edgware Road to Marylebone is easy enough, although you will probably want to employ the assistance of something like Google Maps if you're not familiar with the area, as the route signposting is very patchy. Regardless, it should only take you around 8 minutes on foot to walk between the two stations. Now, I often think of Marylebone as London's forgotten railway terminus. It's one of the newest, relatively speaking anyway, having opened in 1899. As well as being one of London's smallest railway termini, it's also the only one where the lines haven't yet been electrified in one form or another, and along with Fenchurch Street, is the only terminus station in London not to be managed by Network Rail, with Chiltern themselves overseeing the facility. Despite its somewhat obscurity, Marylebone is one of the 4 London stations to feature on the standard British version of the Monopoly board, along with Liverpool Street, King's Cross and Fenchurch Street. As you would have probably expected based off what I've said thus far, the inside of the station is fairly modest and quaint, although I must say I'm absolutely loving the old train shed style canopy. As we enter, we're greeted by these old dot matrix style departure boards. Our train, which is the 11:36 to Birmingham Snow Hill, is currently set to depart on time. In keeping with the theme of old, the location of the station's self-service ticket machines is still advertised by signage bearing the colours of Network South East, who ceased operations in 1994. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Also, if talking to people is your thing, you'll find staff ticket counters off to the right. The selection of shops within the station somehow manages to be both limited and adequate at the same time, and in my opinion there is really everything you might need here, including eateries aimed at both northern and southern clientele. One last point, you'll also find interchange access to the Bakerloo line within the station, which is the sole London Underground line to directly serve Marylebone. Right, that just about covers it for the station. Let's head through the gate line to await the arrival of our train. There are only 6 platforms here at Marylebone, and we'll be departing from platform 2 today. And here comes our train arriving in from the depot fresh as a daisy just now. As I touched on at the start of the video, our trip up the Chiltern main line today will be operated by a Class 168 Clubman set. These diesel multiple units are basically just a glorified version of Bombardier's popular Turbostar family of trains, and first entered service in 1998. They have a top operating speed of 100 miles an hour or 160 kilometers an hour. Chiltern uses these units alongside their older locomotive hauled trains to operate their regional express or mainline services, as they've dubbed them, between London and Birmingham, with a few services per day extending west to Stourbridge Junction. Chiltern offer only standard or second class seating on their Class 168s, and as there are no seat reservations, I'm free to pick my seat as I board. First impressions are, wow, this is a very smart looking interior, and I must say it looks in very good nick considering that these units were last properly refurbished no later than 2008. As the missus is at home today and I'm on my own, I think I'll just plop myself down in one of these airline style seats. I found that there were a good mix of both these and bays of 4, so these trains are really kitted out to cater to parties of all sizes. Now, I tried a couple of the seats out, and I found that legroom varied between mediocre and practically unlimited, such as here. The tray tables were standard as turbo stars go, i.e. pretty small and very flimsy. However, it's always good to see that a plug socket is being provided, even if it was only one for every pair of seats. Speaking of the seats, I'm not usually a massive fan of the ones found on most turbo stars, but these ones were superb, very comfortable and not too obnoxiously shaped. And that's about it, a smart but simple experience. I couldn't really ask for much more. With that though, before we head northwest to the second city, I think it's time we took a brief look at our route today. Today will see us pretty much travelling the full length of the Chiltern main line, less one stop that is, and we'll see us travelling via the likes of High Wycombe, Leamington Spa and Solihull, before arriving into Birmingham Moor Street, where we're scheduled to arrive at just before 25 to 2, giving us a scheduled travel time of 1 hour and 57 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, apologies, there's going to be a slight delay leaving Marylebone. There's a broken down the freight train at High Wycombe. It's now in place, so your tickets will be valid for the remainder of your journey from other stations. If you speak to somebody at the...
Except for we won't be going anywhere, not with Chiltern anyway. As you heard the conductor just say, there's a broken down train stuck at High Wycombe, and ticket acceptance is now in place on other operators. Now, if Birmingham had been my final destination, I would have probably just stuck it out and seen what was going to happen here, as this train hasn't actually been cancelled yet, it's just delayed for an as yet unspecified amount of time. However, I have a connecting train to catch out of New Street later, so to ensure I make it, I'm going to hop on the tube over to Euston and take an Avanti service. To be fair to Chiltern, this is completely out of their control. I mean, the broken down train wasn't even one of theirs, and I thought that they did an excellent job of minimising the disruption to passengers by quickly implementing alternative travel arrangements. Providing I hotfoot it over to Euston, I should still make my connecting train in Birmingham. Interestingly, most people tried to stick it out here instead of heading to Euston to catch a faster Avanti service. That said, while what I'm doing would work if you were heading to Birmingham, it wouldn't be much use for anyone trying to head to the likes of Wycombe or Banbury. Once at Euston, I'm just able to take the first train heading to Birmingham, in this case the 12:40 to Birmingham New Street. Our ride today will now be aboard this snazzy looking refurbished class 390 Pendolino set. Now I'm not going to bother doing the likes of seat tours and train tours on here, as this video was supposed to be about Chiltern and I have a dedicated review of the refurbished Pendolinos already up on the channel. And there mustn't have been any imminent obstructions on the West Coast Main Line as we departed Euston bang on time. Our trip will now see us heading northwest on the West Coast Main Line, running non-stop as far as Coventry, before going on to call at Birmingham International and Birmingham New Street, where this train is scheduled to arrive and terminate at 4 minutes to 2. Scheduled travel time is 1 hour and 16 minutes and will see us covering a distance of 113 miles or 181 kilometres. Top speed will be 125 miles an hour or 200 kilometres an hour. Much to my relief, we're soon picking up speed as we finally make our way out of London and towards the Midlands. I guess one upside of Avanti over Chiltern, other than that they're much faster, is that onboard catering is provided, allowing for me to have a much needed drink and snack as we batter our way down the West Coast Main Line. Finally, Birmingham city centre comes into sight as we approach New Street. It was a shame how things worked out really, as Chiltern's Clubman sets seem really nice, and I was looking forward to finally trying them out on an actual journey that is. That said, I was very impressed by Chiltern's swift response to the disruption, which meant I arrived into New Street with plenty of time to spare until my connecting train to Liverpool departed, and also meant that I will not have to be submitting a delay repay claim to recover the £9.20 that I paid for my ticket. By the way, while this is certainly not the cheapest I've ever seen a London to Birmingham ticket on Chiltern, it's definitely very good value for an Avanti service, even if they weren't my intended carrier. Anyway, it was tempting not to put this one out, but I thought it would give a nice insight into how rail operators should handle things when things go wrong. With that though, welcome to Birmingham New Street, the busiest station in the UK outside of London, where we arrived just a few minutes late at around 2 o'clock. Right, I'm off to go and catch my connecting train to Merseyside. However, in the meantime, I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to give it a like, comment and subscribe to the channel, as all of them help me out immensely. A massive thank you as always goes to my fantastic patrons and channel members for their generous and ongoing support. If you want to join them in supporting the channel, or while gaining ad-free access to my videos, then you can do so from just £1, dollar or euro per month. You'll find the relevant links in the description below. With that though, all that's left for me to say is thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you all next Friday.
This is a platform alteration. The 1411 West Midlands Railway service to Wolverhampton will now depart at platform 6B. This is a platform